What is a sourdough starter? How do you make it and maintain it, especially if you don't bake every day? How to preserve sourdough starter indefinitely, and how to bring it back to life. And most of all, why bother with another pet in the kitchen that have to be fed daily, or at least periodically? All that, and some science behind it, I will cover in today's video at Rye Avenue. In a nutshell, sourdough starter is a mixture of flour and water that hosts a stable blend of lactic bacteria and wild yeast. It is continually maintained with regular refreshments or feedings and is used to make dough rise and create breads that dreams are made of. So, how do we start making our bread dreams come true? We will begin with equipment. You will need plastic or glass containers with a plastic or glass lids, large enough to provide room for your sourdough starter to quadruple. Wide mouth glass jars are easiest to mix in and to keep them clean. You will need a soft tip silicone spatula to feed and refresh your sourdough starter, and a stiff silicone spatula to mix sourdough for your future breads. To be precise and to avoid guessing and oopsies, a scale is a great investment. And until you get one, you can just use measuring cups. What is the best flour for developing a sourdough starter? Since we are capturing and training wild yeast, and yeasts are present on the surface of the grain, the best flour is a flour with bran in it, whole rye or whole wheat. You can use all-purpose flour if that's all you have. However, it will take longer, 2 to 3 weeks for your starter to develop, and it will have a lesser variety of the yeasts, where whole rye will have the most. And that's what we're going to use today. Once you have a fully developed sourdough starter, you can simply transition it to any flour you like to use. For the next 7 days, pick the time of the day you're always home to feed your starter every 24 hours. And let's begin. In your container, combine equal parts by weight of water and flour. 60 grams or 2 ounces or quarter of a cup of room temperature water with 60 grams or 2 ounces or half a cup of flour. Mix it all well together, making sure all flour is hydrated. Scrape flour from the sides of your container as much as you can to prevent the growth of bad bacteria. This is where soft-tip silicone spatula comes in handy. Its flexibility allows to clean sides with ease and to move and press starter down, keeping it neat and tidy and in one place. Close it tightly with the lid to keep whatever is floating or flying in the air out, and to keep it from drying and forming a crust. And no, it will not suffocate. To keep track of your sourdough starter's activity, you can mark your container with a marker or put on a rubber band. Set it aside for 24 hours at room temperature and away from direct sunlight. So what will happen in 24 hours? Visibly, not much. You will see a few bubbles and will notice a change in smell. Rest assured, there's a lot of work going on as our little workers are adapting and building their community. Today and for the next 5 days, take half of your starter, discard the rest, and feed it 60 grams or 2 ounces or quarter of a cup of room temperature water with 60 grams or 2 ounces or half a cup of flour. Mix it, close it with a lid, and set it aside for the next 24 hours. A sourdough starter is a complex ecosystem containing a multitude of microbial species, including more than 50 species of lactic acid bacteria and over 20 species of yeast. Now imagine over 70 different kinds of skilled craftsmen constructing a structure we call bread, inside and out. We've got carpenters, plumbers, and electricians, and interior designers. Well, you got the picture. The fruits of their labor are often referred to as the complex flavors that we experience with our taste buds, and the difference we feel in our gut. Probiotics in sourdough synthesize B vitamins naturally. Postbiotics are bioactive compounds produced by probiotics during fermentation. They are vitamins, amino acids, and other metabolites that offer health benefits. You can compare it with a structure built with high-end materials and full of luxurious features. Something like this, for example. The primary component in active dry and instant yeast is a dehydrated species of a single-celled microorganisms known as Saccharomyces cerevisiae. They consume sugars and starch and produce carbon dioxide gas and alcohol as a result. This carbon dioxide gas becomes trapped in interior structures formed by gluten strands during the baking process, making bread and other baked goods rise. Using it saves us time, and you can compare its value to something like this. On the third day, your starter will double in size. It will have lots of bubbles, and it will smell funky and unpleasant. On days 4, 5, and 6, your starter will look like it's not doing much. But on day 7, it will more than double in size. It will have various sized CO2 pockets, and it will smell pleasant and fruity. It is now fully developed and is ready to be used. From now on, to maintain your starter, you will need to feed it daily. Your sourdough starter will reach its peak and will be ready to be used in the recipe in 6 hours with a ratio of 1 to 1 to 1, in 12 hours with a ratio of 1 to 2 and 2, and 24 hours with a ratio of 1 to 4 and 4, meaning 1 part of starter to 4 parts of water and 4 parts of flour. Freshly fed at 1 to 4 and 4 ratio sourdough starter can be kept in the fridge for up to a month. Before using it in your recipe, feed it at least twice after it has reached room temperature and has doubled in size. To transition your sourdough starter to a different flour, simply refresh it twice at 1 to 4 and 4 ratio with a flour of your choice. You can preserve your sourdough starter for indefinitely, in case your current starter dies or you feel like you need a long break from baking. Take a fully developed starter, spread it on a parchment paper or a foil as thin as you can, and dry it at room temperature for 2 days until it is completely dried. Break dried sourdough starter into small pieces and store them in airtight containers. To save space, you can grind starter flakes in a coffee grinder, and to help remember a year later what on earth do you have in those little jars, I strongly recommend labeling them. To rehydrate your sourdough starter, take 14 grams or half an ounce of dehydrated starter. It will be about a tablespoon of ground starter, and add 1 tablespoon plus 60 grams or 2 ounces or quarter of a cup of water. Wait until dehydrated starter is completely dissolved in water. It will take about an hour or 2 for the flakes and about 10 to 20 minutes for the ground starter. Then feed it 60 grams or 2 ounces or half a cup of flour. Mix it, close it with a lid, and set it aside for 24 hours. When time is up, refresh your starter at 1 to 1 to 1 ratio and let it develop for another 24 hours. After that, your sourdough starter is back in business and you can resume your regular feeding routine. Saccharomyces cerevisiae. Who comes up with these words? That's who.